Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. This video is going to run through a bit of a mishmash of different things that have been going on in the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder build-up. The pair, of course, fight on December the 1st, Staples Center, Los Angeles. So what we've had is Fury has now started his sparring sessions. We've also had Jarell Miller going in on the Gypsy King on social media about sparring. Some Mascot concerns for Deontay Wilder, and there's also a few things that I want to drop a few thoughts on in relation to some comments the WBC champ has made in recent interviews, including his hopes for a pay-per-view bonanza, and also curiously on wanting to eventually fight his brother. And I know that's not exclusively tied to this fight, but obviously he has to keep winning to get there. But yeah, he wants to fight his brother Marcelos. Okay, so first off, sparring is underway at Tyson Fury's training camp, and that's being held at Abel Sanchez's Big Bear facility in California. Fury has been working with Joe Joyce and Guido Vianello. Joyce, as we know, is a rising 6-0 prospect who at 33 is looking to be on the fast track for big fights in the heavyweight division after turning pro about 18 months ago. In Joyce, Fury faces a seasoned amateur. He won silver at the Rio Olympics, and he's a guy that hits hard. But it must be said, he doesn't whip those shots in nearly as fast as Wilder, but he is roughly of the same height. He's 6'6", Wilder is 6'7". And Joyce, who sparred Fury previously when he was larger, said on social media in response to a question that Fury now throws more shots and is a lot quicker on his feet when compared to when he weighed significantly more. And this sparring, it's going to be good for Joyce too, because he's going to be on this December 1st card as well. He's going to be on the undercard in some form. We don't know who he's going to be fighting. He's been calling out Gerald Washington. It's all a bit TBC, not much movement on that front. And the other guy I know far less about, but Guido Vianello. He's an Italian heavyweight who competed at the Rio Games 2 years ago. He's taken part in the World Series of Boxing, where he has a record of 1 win and 2 losses. He's yet to have a professional fight, although there is some basic information listed about him on BoxRec. And like Joyce, Vianello is 6'6". So from outward appearances, it looks like Fury has had a good start to his sparring. It's unclear who else is going to be coming in. But one guy who won't likely be coming to camp to give Fury some work is the American Jarell Miller. And before I get to what Miller is now saying, let's rewind to the sparring challenge that Fury issued to Miller in early October.
This is a call-out video to the fat boy, Jarell Miller. Get yourself up here, bring 100 grand with you, me and you'll have a fight in the ring. Winner take all, cash. I put you down 7 times in Lancashire. I'll put you down 10 times in Big Bear, California. You fat prick. Get yourself up here, anytime, any place, anywhere. If you want to spar or you want a bare knuckle fight, get yourself up here, you fat prick.
But this whole Tyson Fury offering me 100,000 of sparring is a crock of crap. Because the last time we sparred, I was effing him up with some body shots. And I was sparring with him and his cousin, Huey Fury, back then. And I sunned his cousin easily, no problem with his cousin, one hand. But all of a sudden, he talking about, smack me around like, he can't smack the last 2 dudes he fought. And I done washed them up. So I don't know what AKA Sniffles is doing right now. But it definitely ain't boxing on his off time, because he just took some extra gunk. And you know I ain't even want to play with, because I will show up his doorstep and slap the vanilla ice cream out his ass. So Tyson's just bugging out. I think he just want me to come beat up on him. So when I do injure him again with a body shot like I did the first time, he can pull out of the Deontay fight, because maybe realistically, mentally, he's not ready for the Deontay fight. He's looking for an excuse. I don't know.
And I would note that Fury, he is apparently right now on some sort of social media blackout, a self-enforced blackout for the next 6 weeks until the fight. That's according to a tweet that he had put out earlier this month. But of course, it was met with a lot of skepticism. And I'm half expecting to see him pop up at some point on Instagram or Twitter or wherever in a car singing, because that's one of the things he often does. Someone is still posting to his account. If it's not Fury, it's someone connected to him, one of his teams, posting on his different social media channels. But let's hope some more good stuff keeps coming through, because it all adds to the mix of this fight. It keeps it in people's mind. Obviously, it keeps, people interested in this fight. And the interest in this fight, how is that going to translate into the success of the fight? How successful is it going to be? It's sort of the $1 million question, or maybe I should say it's the 2.5 million pay-per-view question. Because 2.5 million, that's how many buys Deontay Wilder believes that his first pay-per-view event is going to do in the United States. He threw that figure out during the recent press tour, and he's reaffirmed it in a more recent interview with the Boxing Voice, saying, "We can do it. Why not? It's the biggest fight in the world." And in terms of what's going at the moment in terms of heavyweight fights and what else is on the horizon, for the rest of the year at least and early next year, this is the biggest fight that is on the horizon at the moment. There's no reason that it shouldn't do well. Although it is in December, there's quite a number of other fights in that month, some other pay-per-views on. So it'll be interesting to see whether it's potentially crowded out. And obviously, there is some talk that Floyd Mayweather may be having some sort of pay-per-view event potentially in December, although that hasn't come to anything as yet. But in terms of Wilder's prediction, 2.5 million, I don't think it's going to get anywhere near that. I think that really is sort of pie-in-the-sky stuff, but I do like the ambition. To put it into perspective, 2.5 million buys. Here's a table that I found online in terms of the top 10. Not entirely sure if it's completely up to date and accurate, but in terms of just the sheer numbers, it gives you a bit of a scope of historically where it would sit. And on this table, it would come in, it would be the third biggest of all time, behind Mayweather and Canelo and above Mayweather and De La Hoya. So it gives you a bit of perspective about those sorts of fights and what numbers they did. Massive numbers. So make no mistake, this is a big, big fight, but is it going to enter that sort of stratosphere? Is it that sort of fight? Is it that big? Is it going to be that successful? And on that, just bear this in mind, these comments from Showtime boss Steven Espinoza. So he's predicting a more modest final number of buyers, but still a significant number. He recently told Seconds Out that the 2.5 million figure, it's a great and ambitious target in a busy sports market. But when you look at the pay-per-view debuts of De La Hoya, Pacquiao, and even Mayweather, they were all in the low to mid six figures. But he thinks that there is slightly higher upside here because it's a big heavyweight fight. And he believes that if they're in the low to mid six figures, it will have been very successful. And he said anything beyond that is stupendous. So that's giving you a bit of an insight into what Steven Espinoza thinks. Do you think he's a bit on the conservative side here? Does somewhere between 200 and 600,000 feel a bit right? Or do you think it feels a bit low? For some reason, I've been thinking around 600,000 or 700,000. But really, that's just finger in the air stuff. I mean, how many buys is it going to do? Drop a comment, let me know. Also, in talking to the Boxing Voice, Wilder had spoken of eventually fighting his brother Marcellus Wilder later in his career, saying, "He's going to be good. I'm looking into the future, raising my brother to heavyweight. Me and him clashing out, my finale, my grand finale." And when he was questioned about brothers fighting each other, Nestor Gibbs was a little bit sort of surprised he'd sort of said all that. Wilder proclaimed that they were from a different breed, and he then began sort of preaching a little bit, but he said he could see it now, both them fighting and fighting for millions of dollars. I guess my take on all that is, if the younger Wilder ends up being good enough and he earns his way to a title shot, and that's the key there, if he earns his way to a title shot, then I don't really have a problem with him fighting Deontay Wilder. I mean, we know that the Klitschko's, they wouldn't fight each other. That was something that they wouldn't do. But Wilder says him and his brother from a different breed. And if we look at Marcellus Wilder, currently he's 2-0. He's not actually at heavyweight. He's currently at cruiserweight. And for his first two fights, he was well under the limit of 200 pounds. He was 192 for one and 187.5 for another. So that shows you that, there's going to have to be a significant amount of time, one, to build up his body to really get him to heavyweight, but also to build up the record, a credible record. At the moment, he's listed at 6'3". He's probably not going to be growing. He's 29 years old, 6'3", and obviously in a division with tall timber like his brother, who's 6'7", being 6'3" isn't necessarily going to give him a leg up. He'll just be, in terms of heavyweights these days, that seems to be among the sort of not lower end, but an average decent height for a heavyweight. But the guys who've been ruling the division for pretty much a decade, they've been 6'6" or bigger. So I think Marcellus Wilder, he's certainly got his work cut out for him. But who knows, maybe he will be good. I mean, Wilder spoke about signing him as the first signing to his promotional company. But yeah, he's going to have to earn his way to a title, as anything less would be seen as a brotherly love type cherry pick. And fans wouldn't pay to see it. I wouldn't want to pay to see it if it was just a sort of cherry pick type fight, comes in at number 15, people didn't think he'd earned it. You wouldn't want to see it. But in terms of his career, good luck to him. He's going to need it. The heavyweight division, stacked full of tall timber, lots of hard hitters, a lot of guys he needs to get through to get anywhere in the division. You may have also seen that there's been some controversy online claiming Wilder had broken the jaw of a man dressed in a Mascot suit on an ESPN set. And Wilder, he'd been asked to actually punch the guy, throw a punch at the Mascot, and he did that. He obliged. On seeing and hearing rumours online that he'd actually hurt the guy, broken his jaw, Wilder issued an apology saying, "Sincerely apologise to the brave man that was injured, bracket, if this was true, bracket. I have the utmost high respect for him, his participation, willingness and courage. If this is true, I would personally like to invite him to my December 1st fight, word is bond." But he might be off the hook on that one. ESPN has come out and denied that the guy was injured. Didn't stop the rumours bubbling up though. It was quite funny actually. But yeah, the guy is apparently okay. And he still might come to the fight. We'll have to see. What do you make of it all? Tyson Fury sparring Joe Joyce in an Italian heavyweight. We've got Big Baby Miller criticising Tyson Fury, saying he hurt him previously in sparring, also hurt Hughie Fury. Well, that's Miller's claim. Obviously, that doesn't gel with what Fury has said. Who do you believe there? And obviously, Deontay Wilder, he wants the big buys for this pay-per-view. What do you think it's going to do? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.